Okay, so I'm adding this one kind of after the fact here. Jacob and Haley. I don't know how I forgot them. They are a fascinating couple on Married at First Sight season 12. So Haley went into this as the person who never really got to second dates. Obviously, you're not just jumping into the deep end of the pool, but the deep part of the ocean if you go right from not making it past first dates to going all the way to commitment in a marriage that needs to last a lifetime. So this is kind of an extreme radical way to deal with intimacy, fear, and blocks. You know, I wish that the show or had provided her more consistent support, you know, like the kind of coaching that I do with a client or that therapists would be able to do to support that person through overcoming that deep fear and block. Kudos and credit to her for having the guts to say, I know I need to confront that. But you saw her shut down and pull back as soon as it was into that honeymoon even. At first there was some connection beginning, and then it's almost like the mind did what it does in intimacy fear, protection mode, disqualify, disqualify, disqualify. And when we're in that protective mode, we can find something wrong with anybody. And certainly there were things that weren't a great compatibility or fit with Haley and Jacob. You know, Jacob could sense this right away. To give him credit, you know, Jacob reminds me of so many of my engineering type buddies, or sort of that rational part of me that can be very result oriented, point A to point B linear. He was very direct and actually pretty intuitive, able to sense when she pulled away, something's changed, and trying to just call it as it was and say, why don't we just be friends? I think that's all there is here. He began to be a little bit more resentful and then not ideal in his way of communicating with her when he kept trying and felt like she was encouraging him to try, but he still didn't really feel like she was fully open or invested in the process. It got to a point where clearly they were both just playing it out in a way for the cameras, like wanting to say, I want to be able to say I gave this a chance, but they weren't deeply giving it a full chance, which I think he mentioned a few times. And she tried to force herself to give it a real chance. But you can't force your way through intimacy fear. Think of that as like you're trying to force a door open. That's not a relaxed way to create a feeling of safety, right? So for her, greater, deeper safety work to be done around intimacy. Hopefully that's what happened after the show. I think a lot of people go to this show when they're frustrated. They'll go on a show like this when they're frustrated with not being able to find love other ways, but it will reveal to them work they could do on themselves to allow that love. And for Jacob, you know, there's some work to be done on being more open and emotive.